Hello everyone and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Today we are talking about The Nun II, directed by Michael Chaves. Is it Chaves? Chaves?
It is Chaves.
Chaves. Okay,
Yes.
great. Also director of The Curse of La Llorona and Conjuring 3, I believe. And so let's dive into this one. You've probably seen our Out of the Theater review. If you haven't, we'll link it in the description.
Mm-hmm.
But and spoilers, by the way. This is a full spoiler review for the film. I think it's fair to say we didn't love it.
It's not great.
No.
I dare say it's not good either.
Yeah. Is there good stuff in it? Absolutely. I think there are a couple sequences that are rather well done. A lot of them you've seen in the trailer. But
a big issue with the movie.
yeah, but there is one sequence in particular involving the headmaster of the school and her dead son. I thought that sequence was great. I know some people that we talked to didn't like that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really well done sequence.
I think with what occurred with it, it's a spoiler review, when he's whacking her with the smoke thing, it was a bit campy, which I enjoyed, but tonally was completely different than the rest
setup
of the movie.
Yeah.
Like if that had happened in The Pope's Exorcist, I would have been like, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah.
It felt very out of place for that.
And I love the opening scene of the movie.
I do like a big opening set piece with that. I thought that was very well done. I really had liked all kind of the color work, like the streets being like yellows and blues instead of just being really dark.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. It added this sort of atmosphere, which I enjoyed, and allowed me to see what the fuck was actually happening, because no one knows how to film night scenes anymore.
That's true.
Except for Jordan Peele.
Yes. Because he films them at day.
Exactly.
During the day, and then they make it at night. But yeah, so something that I thought was an interesting choice was bringing back all the same characters from the first film. I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't dislike the characters, but I don't particularly love them either.
I didn't have a vested interest in their return.
Yeah, and I thought that this would have been a good opportunity to kind of start fresh with some new characters. They didn't go that route.
Yeah.
But, I thought the performances, from a performance standpoint, I thought were hit or miss. I thought half of them were decent, half of them weren't. I also thought that it's a very well-made film.
Yeah.
I personally thought so.
I mean, I'd say that I wouldn't say it's anything spectacular.
No.
But, it was competently helmed.
Yeah.
As was Conjuring and La Llorona. I didn't think they were outstanding. So I liked The Nun 1 more than La Llorona.
Okay.
But I thought La Llorona was a technically better made film.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see that being brought to The Nun 2, and I was about met with the same quality of all of them across the
La
board.
Llorona technically is a very well-made film.
Yeah.
And it's still, this is a side tangent, it baffles me they didn't market that as part of the Conjuring universe. That's so...
Very weird.
I don't know the answer as to why they didn't.
But it is.
It very clearly
very
is.
much is. Yeah.
So that's just odd to me.
Uh-huh.
But something that... where this movie really hinders, we mentioned in Out of the Theater, is the script, the story. It just kind of keeps going into directions. I was in the first half hour of the movie. I was like, oh, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And then it just does this, and it never ever kicks back up. And I thought that the Catholic archives, I have no idea if that's true. That could very much so be a true place.
The sacred texts.
but just the way that it was treated, and the dude had all the answers, man. Everything. I wanted him to join them. I was like, yo, if he goes, yo, let me fucking come with you, I'd been like, okay.
And that's a certain thing that I like about horror movies, which I wish they delved into more, because when you're trying to figure out the demons and everything, it's like a detective story.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing all this research. It's a little bit of it. The Nun kind of takes an adventure route, where they get the blood of Jesus Christ, or in this one it was Saint Catherine?
No, but the eyes. I don't know who you're talking
the
about.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Some saint's eyes.
Yeah.
Where they're looking for those. So there's also this sort of adventure aspect to it, which I feel like it doesn't fully delve into. The research scene in these horror movies is always one guy just happens to know everything that's happening. And you're like, I want more of this, but we're not getting that.
Yeah. No, I think it was St. Lucy.
St. Lucy's Eyes?
Is that? Yeah, I think it was St. Lucy.
Okay, St. Lucy's Eyes.
If I got that wrong and we're just not remembering and I Googled it incorrectly, I apologize. But yeah, and it's a shame too, because I think these movies had huge potential, especially from how good The Nun is in The Conjuring 2. And what's crazy, if anyone ever wants to argue that James Wan is not a good filmmaker, The Conjuring, The Nun was a reshoot in The Conjuring 2. Like, all of the Nun stuff. Because originally, the Nun's final form in the end of Conjuring 2, that demon thing, that's
Valak.
That's what it looked like the whole movie. And then in reshoots, they were like, no, this, I'm kind of not in the disbelief of it. Let's make it something more tangible, and they made it The Nun.
Mm-hmm.
He took an afterthought and made it one of the best parts of one of his best films, and it spawned 2 spin-off movies. Like,
that are going to be successful.
Yeah.
I think The Nun's opening somewhere in the 30s,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I read earlier,
Mhm.
and it was probably made for, what, 15, 20?
I assume less.
Yeah. So, it makes sense. I just wish that the quality of everything else within the Conjuring universe was to the level of Conjuring 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest disappointment with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of goes into these studios where they're making gangbusters on it. So who gives a shit about quality when they can still make $100K off or $100 million off of a $10 million movie?
The Conjuring universe is one of the most successful shared universes, like MCU, DCU, Conjuring. Like, it's right there.
I just wish the quality was better.
Yeah.
And then the same thing goes with like the DC universe.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
just make it. And I
Yeah.
mean, Marvel's dipped lately
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah. But like, I think that, it's funny. It's so weird that like the Conjuring franchise is solid. Like,
Mhm.
while the third film was a step down from 1 and 2, it's easily the third best film.
I would say
maybe Annabelle 2 is better than Conjuring 3. I'd have to rewatch because it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But
I haven't
like-
seen the third Annabelle yet.
I haven't either, but I heard that it was okay.
Yeah.
Which that reminds me, the post-credit scene of this film is the best part of the movie.
I called it.
You did.
Well, I like half called it. I
Uh-huh.
jokingly said that they should reveal that the nun, the main nun that we follow, Taissa Farmiga, who's
Yeah.
the younger sister of Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine
Yeah.
in the Conjuring movies. I think it'd be funny because there was an offhanded line in the Nun II where they say that Valak is haunting like lineal descendants
Yeah.
of something. And I
Mhm.
said, oh, that'd be cool if they reveal, because they're sisters in real life, that she's a descendant of it. But
Yeah.
I know that Lorraine is a real person in the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
But then and I'm like, but the third movies, you always have to fight the Lorraine and Ed and Lorraine,
Mm-hmm.
because I know in the third Annabelle, that's when they come back. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're gearing up Nun 3 versus Ed and Lorraine, and then the post-credit scene.
And the thing is, I don't know if that confirms them for Nun 3.
Or if it's set
as
up
much
for
as just set up
4.
for Conjuring 4. And I think it's because I think Annabelle 3,
Mhm.
whatever Annabelle movie, or it wasn't La Llorona, whatever Conjuring Universe movie came out before the first Nun, the post-credit scene was the Nun. Like, it was like a reveal of the Nun. So I feel like it's just setting up what the next chapter is. And we know that the Conjuring TV show's happening, and we know that there's going to be Conjuring 4. But
I'm
you
still
know.
on board for Nun 3.
listen, I'll still go watch it. You know. The
Oh, I
potential-
meant my theory.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all.
Mhm.
Honestly, I would love that so much. I wouldn't mind if they just shittily made a La Llorona 2 so that they could get La Llorona versus Ed and
the
Lorraine
Nun.
in 3.
La Llorona versus the Nun.
There you go.
I think my biggest disappointment with the movie, though, was, like you said, how it kind of dwindles down. But the
Mhm.
Nun's really good in that opening set piece at the church. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. And then I forgot the Nun was in this movie until she shows up again in the third act. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck was happening here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, a lot of the good scares are in the trailer. And while the sequences are obviously extended and they're very well made, you kind of lose that sort of, because you know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess which is
exactly.
the whole argument of watching trailers. But
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Yeah.
it plays before every movie. So
Yeah. That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Well, I don't know if I could say I recommend.
I would not recommend.
Yeah. Sorry. But, you know,
Can't win them all.
but you certainly can lose them all. Remember that, kids. It's a good lesson. But with that down, guys, that'll be it for the review. You can catch us on the next movie review or the next episode of the Roundtable. Don't forget to subscribe and keep watching us. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.